إني ألقى الإناس في صومي وصلاتي ودعائي للرحمن وجميع الطاعات.
So the key question is from what he said there.
Sure.
Do you think the Qur'an is the product of a human mind or divine?
I don't know, I ain't read it. And like,
All right, I tell you what, most of it is copied from the Old Testament.
Well, yeah,
It's interesting. It's interesting that most of the Quran has been copied from the Old. No, I like this. I like this point. It's interesting that most of the Quran has been copied by the Old Testament.
From the Old Testament.
From the Old Testament. But that Prophet Muhammad forgot to copy Job chapter number 9, verse number 6, where it talks about the flat earth and the pillars of the earth. It's interesting that wait, hold on.
No, we still talk about the four corners of the earth, but it's just a poetic manner of speaking.
No, it doesn't. No, it talks about pillars of the earth as well. It's interesting that the Quran had copied from the Old Testament, but that the Prophet Muhammad really had forgotten to copy those verses in Genesis. If you look at Genesis chapter 1, I think
he did
up
copy
to 40.
some weird stuff though.
No, let me just finish my point.
Like,
it's interesting that he forgot to copy that part, which refers to an unbelievable, and I don't mean it in a complimentary way, and primitive understanding of how the universe started. It's interesting, really.
Sure. So the Quran is more evolved.
Can I just make one argument?
Yes.
One argument that will prove three things. One, that the Quran is from another angle, historical angle, that the Quran can't be the product of a 7th century Arab man.
Sure.
Second thing it'll prove that the Quran, the Bible cannot be the word of God. And third thing it'll prove is that the Quran cannot be copied from the Old Testament, just like this gentleman said.
But you guys have Moses, right?
I'll give you this one argument.
We affirm the parts of the Old Testament.
Sure. I'll give you this one argument.
Yeah, go ahead.
It will make these 3 points.
Okay.
Now, Genesis 41 or 51, forgive me, I don't know which one. 51 or 41. It talks about the prophet Joseph going to see the king.
Yes, that's right.
The Pharaoh.
Sure.
Interpreting his dreams. It talks about his interpretation of dreams. I don't know if you're familiar with the story.
Yeah.
Long story short, Genesis 41 or 51. He's interpreting the dream of the Pharaoh in Egypt. The Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, when he's talking, if you say that he made up the Quran talks about the same story, but it's talking about the Prophet Joseph going to see the king, not the Pharaoh. Small distinction, you would argue. What's the what's the point of it? Here's where it gets interesting. If you look at Encyclopedia Britannica right now, and you research this term, the term Pharaoh comes from the word para. This, when they discovered the Rosetta Stone, you know about the Rosetta Stone they discovered, right?
Rosetta Stone, written in Greek and ancient Egyptian.
Basically, long story short, hieroglyph is the language of it was a dead language. It's been a dead language for a very long time.
Sure.
This was not accessible and was not known up until about a couple of hundred years ago. Now, what they did is, from the Rosetta Stone, they were able to decipher what these hieroglyphs are. They're only able to basically, long story short, only a couple of hundred years ago, they were able to understand what these, those images they find from the tombs and stuff, and what they all mean.
Okay.
What they discovered was that the term Pharaoh comes from the word para. It means the ruling area.
Sure.
Right? The kingdom. Like the White House you have.
Sure.
Right? When they say that this instruction was issued by the White House.
Sure.
It's not referring to a man, is it? It's referring to
Sure.
But they mean the establishment, the White House, etc.
Cool.
The ruling area. That's what you would call Pharaoh.
Right.
You would not call a man Pharaoh.
Okay.
It would be historically inaccurate.
Sure.
So it's like, imagine 1,000 years...
So the fact that he called it a king...
Basically, imagine 1,000 years from now, somebody talked about Obama, and they called him
the White House.
The White House.
I
White
see
House
what you mean,
Obama. It will be historically inaccurate.
Sure.
You would not, if you were talking about it in 7th century Arabia, or 2,000 years ago,
Cool.
or writing it, and even 500 years ago, it will be understandable why you would use that.
Cool.
But if you are divine and you're all knowing, you can't be making simple mistakes like that. Would you agree?
Interesting point.
Cool. Yeah.
So this proves three things. How does the author of the Quran know to make this very small distinction, a very critical distinction?
Yeah.
Second of all, why does the Bible not make that distinction?
Sure.
And thirdly, how can the Quran then be copied from the Bible?
I don't know.
Let me just repeat the argument, just in case people didn't hear it. Very good. I mean, I like the contribution. He said that, in Genesis chapter 41, that when the story of Joseph is referred to, that basically he's referred to as a pharaoh.
Sure.
He said if you go to the Britannica now, so we know that he was not a pharaoh, he's a king.
Sure.
The Bible got it wrong.
Sure.
The Qur'an got it right, according to the historical record. And this language is a dead language.
Sure.
So really, we can't say that the Qur'an copied. If we say the Qur'an copied from the Bible, then why didn't he copy this? And how did he know to make a distinction?
I don't know. Could have been a mistake.
Interesting. So we look at things which we take it for granted now as reality or truth.
Sure.
Things like those scientific examples I gave you, which are rudimentary scientific realities. And in addition, those historical facts that he just added to that.
Sure.
And in addition to that, you could say there's a whole layer of argument of the inconsistencies of the theological beliefs of the Christians. All of this is sift. And you could say the result of that sift is the pure, divine
knowledge
Quranic
of
message.
God. Okay, cool, yeah.
So the Quranic message. Do you see how that's a strong argument?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But again, like, I don't believe that.
No problem. Do you know what, my friend? I'm going to give you my number off camera. Give it to you.
Sure.
Then you read the Quran, bits of it. You don't need to read all of it.
Sure.
Just to enhance your knowledge, and you come back to me.
Sure.
Tell me what you feel of it. Like a book review.
Cool.
Sound alright?
Yeah, that sounds
Let's
good.
go for it, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Nice.